It floats, it flies, and it sings. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang isn't just a car. It's one of the most iconic vehicles in movie history. But did you know the film was nearly a disaster behind the scenes?
Someone to do for, muddle through for.
I have you too.
This cheerful family classic had serious behind-the-scenes drama. But why was the crew miserable? And what unexpected connections does this film have to James Bond, the Beatles, and even Nazi Germany? Stay tuned, because we're diving into the top 10 strange but true facts about Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And trust us, this whimsical journey is a lot weirder than it looks. The car was designed by a James Bond creator. That magical, flying, floating car, it was the brainchild of none other than Ian Fleming, yes, the creator of James Bond. Fleming wrote the original Chitty Chitty Bang Bang book in 1964 as a bedtime story for his son. He passed away before seeing it on screen, but the Bond connection runs even deeper. Albert R. Broccoli, the producer of the Bond films, also produced this movie. And the screenwriter? None other than Roald Dahl, the darkly funny children's author behind Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So while the film feels innocent, its DNA is full of spies, chocolate, and danger. The child catcher was almost too terrifying for children. Let's talk about that guy. The child catcher, played by Robert Helpman, is widely considered one of the scariest characters in family movie history. With his long nose, eerie voice, and sudden appearances, he caused nightmares for an entire generation. But here's the strange part. He wasn't even in the original Ian Fleming book. He was invented for the film by Roald Dahl, who wanted to show how a government might literally try to control joy and imagination. And Helpman? He improvised many of the creepiest moments himself. He even chased the child actors between takes, staying in character. It was so unsettling that some parents demanded the scene be cut after early screenings. It stayed and left a generation forever scarred.
Come on, come on!
Hey, come on!
The original title was way, way longer. You think Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is a mouthful? The working title of the film was actually Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the magical car that could fly, float, and save the day. Not quite as catchy, is it? The studio cut it down after marketing executives complained kids wouldn't remember the full name. Even then, they worried the word chitty sounded a bit too close to something less family-friendly. But the melody stuck, and by the time the theme song hit airwaves, it was unstoppable.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, we love you. And in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, what we'll do.
Try getting that tune out of your head. The car actually worked, mostly. That iconic car didn't just look cool, it actually worked. The production team built multiple versions of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. One for driving, one for floating, one for flying on wires, one just for close-ups. The main car, built on a vintage racing chassis, was fully functional and street legal. In fact, it was registered in the UK with real plates. And yes, Dick Van Dyke actually drove it. Years later, one of the originals sold at auction for over $800,000. That makes it one of the most expensive movie props ever. Dick Van Dyke thought it was a bad film. America's favorite musical dad had his doubts. Dick Van Dyke signed on after Mary Poppins, but once filming began, he felt something was off. He later said the script felt too long, the tone too strange, and the sets over-designed. In interviews, he admitted, "I didn't think anyone would watch it." Yet decades later, the movie is a cult classic. What changed? Nostalgia, the music, and a new appreciation for its weird, wonderful charm. Turns out, even stars don't always see the magic in the moment.
Answer to our wishes, truly scrumptious, though we may see.
Truly Scrumptious was almost played by a real-life princess. Before Sally Ann Howes was cast as the elegant Truly Scrumptious, the producers were looking for royalty. One name on the list? Princess Grace of Monaco, formerly actress Grace Kelly. They wanted someone with poise, class, and musical ability. Ultimately, Grace declined, and Sally stepped in. But the role was tailored to feel like a modern fairy tale princess anyway. With her pastel dresses, perfect posture, and singing voice, she became one of the most iconic non-Disney heroines in musical film. There were real Nazi references in the villain's design.
Oh, no, I'll get my clothes dirty!
Don't argue!
Baron Bombburst and Baroness Bombburst might seem cartoonish, but their design had a darker origin. Set designers admitted they took inspiration from fascist dictators, particularly the decadence and absurdity of Nazi leadership. Bulgaria, the fictional land in the movie, was meant to reflect a society where joy and childhood had been literally outlawed. The Baron's obsession with toys, his fear of children, and the military uniforms were not subtle. It's one of those strange details that makes you realize just how layered this film really was.
A gentleman's got a walking stick, a seaman's got a cap, and the merry men of Robin Hood they used to quote.
The songs were written by the same duo behind Mary Poppins. If you thought the music sounded familiar, you're not wrong. The legendary Sherman Brothers wrote all the songs in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, just like they did for Mary Poppins. From Toot Sweets to the title song, their work turned a long, quirky script into a magical, musical adventure. They even got an Oscar nomination for it. The brothers later said this was one of their most challenging films, because the tone was constantly shifting between silly, scary, and sweet. The film flopped in theaters but became a classic later.
Look! They are completely cut off by the tide! They belong to...
Believe it or not, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was not a box office success. Audiences in 1968 found it too long and too odd. But years later, reruns on TV and VHS releases brought the film to life again. It became a family favorite, especially in the UK, where it's aired every holiday season. Sometimes a movie just needs a second chance, or a new generation to truly appreciate its magic. There are real working replicas of the car today. More than 50 years later, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang lives on, literally.
At Artist Pictures, and he was on the production set for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. The movie premiered at Radio City Music Hall, and he got us tickets for the show.
Fan-built replicas of the car are on display around the world. Some are so accurate they were even used in stage shows and parades. One replica was built by a dad in the UK who spent 5 years on it just to drive his kids to school. Another one is fully electric. Talk about going the extra mile. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is more than a musical. It's a strange, ambitious experiment that mixed Bond villains, children's book authors, and flying cars. What started as a simple bedtime story became one of cinema's most unusual classics. Which fact surprised you the most? Drop a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because here at Real Truths, we turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. And remember, never underestimate a car that can fly.